Welcome to Film Therapy, the unofficial, unlicensed movie podcast.
If the film says we can say it too. So check the film rating, and that will be our episode rating.
Thank you for listening.
Welcome back to Film Therapy.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us today. We are very excited to talk about one of our faves. We're going back to our Lynchian roots, and going to talk about Mulholland Drive today.
What's the phrase about roots? Like don't forget your roots, let your roots grow, or some shit like that.
Don't forget where your roots. Don't forget your roots. I don't know.
I think. Well, anyway, today we're going back to our roots, and talking about more David Lynch, because why not? I don't think we'll really get into unless you want to, Maddie. I don't know if we're gonna delve crazy into Mulholland Drive theories. They're just more kind of random scenes I want to talk about and certain aspects of the story.
Yeah. It's there are a lot of theories that could be for this movie. So it's kind of up to you to just kind of think what you want.
Are there any in particular that you subscribe to?
I can't remember right at the moment, but maybe after we talk about it, it'll jog my memory.
Well, my preferred thought on the movie, although I would love to hear different interpretations, my preferred theory is that it's the no, can't say that. That's a spoiler for another movie. Spoilers, but it's the inverse of Lost Highway, where in this movie the first 2/3 are the dream and the last third is reality, whereas Lost Highway is reversed. I really like that when you put the two movies side by side, there's really just it's such a theme of duality, which is so funny because that's a big theme in both movies. But if you look at both movies together, it's okay, this is one side of the theory, and this is the other side of the way you can look at it. The opening with all the jitterbug dancing and the superimposed faces of Naomi Watts and the two old people, already it's a mind-bending moment, and it's amazing.
Yeah, it really just throws you in there.
Yeah, and I guess I know I just said we're not going to get into theories, but since I'm subscribing to that theory, I'm going to look at the movie through that lens and kind of just connect moments, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense?
Yeah, let's start with a quick plot synopsis, even though that's kind of weird for this movie, but...
Okay. I'll give it a go.
Give it a go.
Okay. So the movie is about this woman named Betty, played by Naomi Watts, and she goes to stay at her aunt's apartment in LA because she's going to audition for movies and become a big movie star. And then she meets this other woman who has amnesia, but she calls herself Rita, and she's played by Laura Harring, I think is her name. While I'm talking, Maddie, will you double check that for me?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. And so it's about the two of them, and Rita was in an accident on Mulholland Drive, and so her and Betty are trying to figure out everything that happened.
Yes, it's Laura Harring.
Thank you. And also Justin Theroux plays this director named Adam, who is having a really bad day. The studio executives are part of a giant they're part of a conspiracy that to prevent Adam from making the movie he wants to make, and they want him to cast a certain lead actress. And then Adam goes home, he smashes one of the studio head's car, and then goes home only to find his wife in bed with Billy Ray Cyrus, which would upset anybody. And
oh
so,
no! I forgot about that.
and then he doesn't really have a place to stay, but he's still being forced to make this movie, even though the guys in the chair even tell him it's not your movie anymore. And one of the guys who's watching this entire thing unfold is the little red man from Twin Peaks, played by Michael J. Anderson. And I don't remember his name in the movie. It's like Mr. something. But I just, to me, it's like he's not speaking backwards, but but he evokes similar weird vibes, like surreal vibes. Did you know that actor has had some troubles in real life? And like, I haven't done enough research, but he's kind of like accused David Lynch of all these like horrible things that like are kind of not possible. And,
really?
and that's why he's not in Twin Peaks season 3. That's why they recast him, because he didn't want to work with David Lynch.
Oh, interesting.
Like, I think I'd have to double check. I think he even accused him of like murdering somebody or something.
Oh, what?
Yeah, like he like assaulted his daughter, and then like in real life, David Lynch, and that he had like Jack Nance, who plays Pete in Twin Peaks, like his death was tied to David Lynch or something.
That's wild, actually.
Yeah, he was like, oh, the reason the hidden story of Twin Peaks was because of David Lynch's real life and everything. And then David Lynch's daughter, who wrote Laura's Diary, was like, that is complete, that did not happen.
Oh.
She wrote Laura's Diary, like the actual book that you can buy and read.
Right.
It's very good. It's very disturbing. And the only people who knew, I think, that, who was the killer in Twin Peaks from, like, all along were David Lynch, Mark Frost, and then his daughter, because she wrote the novel.
Okay.
And then they called Ray Wise, who plays Leland, Cheryl Lee, obviously, and then the actor who plays Ben, Audrey's dad, into a room to tell them who the killer was, because they had to be, secretive about it.
Ooh.
And then they also shot that scene 3 times, once with Bob, once with Leland, and then once with Ben Horn, because, can't spoil things.
Yeah.
So I just found all that out. I just love the fact that Cheryl Lee was a part of that meeting. It's like, hey, this is who killed Laura. And she's like, okay.
She's got to be.
Uh-huh.
Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe... Wait, at what point did they tell them?
Like, right around the time they filmed the episode, I think.
Okay.
A little before.
Okay. It would have been maybe interesting to see her reaction. Well, actually, it's kind of crazy that they didn't know before.
The creators always knew.
Yeah, but like since she didn't know, then I bet her reaction was pretty good.
Yes.
Anyway.
Oh yeah. So it doesn't say when, but it just says that that at the meeting it was David Lynch, Mark Frost, Cheryl Lee, Ray Wise, and Richard Bamer who plays Ben. So.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah. So, anyways, on to Mulholland Drive. So when Betty gets off the plane and she's talking to Irene and her husband, the older couple, they're the ones in the opening who are superimposed over the dancing with Naomi Watts. It's like their 3 faces. And then the same kind of putting the actors' faces in front of the scene is at the same thing at the end with Betty and Rita. So that's a nice little parallel. So in the 3rd act, Diane, Naomi Watts' character, mentions something about her parents, I think. And then she mentions that she knew her aunt, but her aunt died. So I think the 2 old people might be her parents, but I'm not sure. They're at the very beginning of the movie, and they're also at the very end, because they're like running towards her and screaming, and it's absolutely horrifying.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're also at the beginning because their faces are superimposed over all the jitterbug dancing.
Right.
Along with Naomi Watts' face.
Okay.
And then in the dream section of the movie, because the movie starts with that flashback, and then Diane goes to sleep, and then she wakes up, and she doesn't wake up, but then it's her dream where she's Betty, and Camilla is Rita, and then and she meets those two old people on the plane who are really nice to her, but then when you see them in the cab, they're like super creepy.
So it's kind of like a Wizard of Oz type thing.
Yeah. Which is David Lynch is one of his favorite movies.
Okay.
Is Wizard of Oz. And also, speaking of Wizard of Oz, Wild at Heart has a lot of Wizard of Oz references, including having Cheryl Lee play the Good Witch at the end of the movie.
Wild at Heart? Oh, okay. I still need to see that one.
Yeah. I'd like to see it again. That was one I didn't really vibe with.
Yeah.
And I want to see if I'd like it. It's really hard to find.
Really? I was going to ask where you watched it.
I watched it on TCM when they aired it, because I don't think you can rent it anywhere. Like I seriously don't think you can rent it anywhere. Like Vudu, Amazon, nowhere.
Dang.
So if you go to Goodwill and you see a DVD, get it. Okay,
for sure.
If you see a $2 DVD, it's good. It's worth it. I mean, it's not like hard to find. Like you can buy a Blu-ray or a DVD of it. Like it's not out of print, but they just don't have it for rent anywhere for some reason.
Yeah, you know me. I wouldn't just buy it as like a Blu-ray. So
yeah, maybe you can find a DVD for $5 or something.
Yeah, that'll be my next hunting item.
Or you can find it on VHS.
Or VHS.
Anyway, so Wizard of Oz is a huge inspiration for David Lynch. Also, there is something circulating that they might be making a Wizard of Oz movie at Warner Brothers, and I don't know if they're going to try and remake it or not.
Oh,
but that is Let's just not get into that.
Okay, yeah, I agree.
That's probably the healthier option, don't you think?
I agree.
Yeah. So, let's see. So those creepy old people, whoever, the acting of them is great because they're absolutely horrifying. And they come out of the box. What's in the box?
What's in the
box? This movie does ask you what's in the box. Okay, so the scene, probably, honestly, it might be the scariest movie scene of all time. Is when the two guys are at the Denny's type restaurant. In the movie, it's called Winkies, but in real, it's like a Denny's. It's the same logo and everything.
Yeah.
The two guys, I don't think we see them in any other scene, but it's the two guys. They're kind of like Chris Isaac and Kiefer Sutherland in Fire Walk with Me. Like that's their kind of dynamic-ish. And so this one guy's telling his friend, hey, I had this crazy dream last night and I'm starting to get nervous it's happening because you were in the corner over there and we walked around the corner and something jumped out and spooked me. And then it happens. And it's the most terrifying thing I think I've ever seen. Except for maybe the end of the movie.
It's like
those two things.
A split second, but it's so scary.
It is so horrifying. It is just it's the greatest jump scare of all time because the noise isn't like there's a noise, but it's not like super obnoxiously loud. It's more about like the dread of walking up to the corner and just like the way the woman like pops out behind the corner. It's just it's creepy.
It is.
One thing I want to talk about, one scene, is there's the scene where Betty and Rita are talking. They're rehearsing lines for that movie audition that Betty's going to go to, and they're kind of like laughing the scene off because it's kind of like silly and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then she goes to the rehearsal, and it's her and the older gentleman, and then the scene becomes more of like this, like almost disturbingly intimate, like scene shot in close up, and like, do you remember the scene I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that scene?
It's very intense. And I kind of trying to imagine being like a new actor in LA doing that. It's kind of scary, because how someone could come to you like so experienced and then you just get like caught up in it. But it's also, I'm sure it was exhilarating for her to like act out that whole scene with this guy and have it go really well. But then it's just like you also don't really know what's going to happen within the scene in the moment too. So that's also kind of scary, like, I guess, as a woman. In that field, I could see how that would be nerve-wracking.
Yeah. I really don't, let's see what else. This movie has two of my favorite scenes in any movie ever. The first one is when the scene right after that one, where she goes to the audition set, and it first starts off, and it's like this woman singing this song, 16 Reasons by Connie Stevens. And at first you're like, oh, okay, it's like, this is the scene. And it's like, no, like a scene in the movie. And it's like, no, this is like the shot, it's like a really slow, like, shot that pans back. And like, you're like, okay, well, they're recording the song in a recording studio, and they're lip syncing. But actually, no, it's for the movie, and actually, it's just the audition. And then, like, the way it just, like, reveals the entire, like, set from that super close, from that extreme close-up is just, like, so... Or medium close-up, I guess, I don't know.
Yeah.
But just the way it reveals that is so great. And then Naomi Watts, Betty, comes into the room, and then Justin Theroux turns around and looks at her. And the entire movie, he's been told, you have to cast this other girl in the movie, but he doesn't want to. So it's like this. Why I love this scene is that it has so many layers. Because first of all, it's like they're looking at each other like almost as if it's like a meet cute in a romantic movie, where it's like they have this like longing look,
Mm-hmm,
and the song is like really romantic and everything. And then then it's like, okay, well then he wants he like if he could pick any girl, it's Naomi Watts, it's Betty. But then there's the reality of it where she was with Camila Rita, and then now she's with Adam, Justin Theroux's character. So then it's really like she hates this guy because he took her girlfriend from her.
That's right.
Or that's how she feels. But then it's like she also wants, like, for her to be seen as desirable, like Camilla is seen as desirable.
Mm-hmm.
So then it's Justin Theroux looking at her like she's the only woman in the world. So then there's like a whole other layer on top of that. And it's so funny because the first time you watch it, you get something totally different out of it than when you watch it again. And it's just, and the song is great, and like the way it's shot, and like the close-ups on their eyes and everything, it
is great.
Did you have anything to add to that?
Nope. It's just it's a very memorable scene.
Yeah. And then Betty and Rita go to the place of they're at the diner, not the Double R diner, but I think it's a Winky's diner. And no shit. And so they're at the Winky's diner, and then Rita sees this woman's name tag as Diane, and so then she remembers the name Diane, and so she and Betty call Diane, but nobody's there. And Betty actually says, "It's so interesting to call yourself," and it's like, well, that line has a whole other meaning. And then they go to Diane's, and then they can't get in. But then her neighbor's like, "Oh, I need my dishes back. She's had them for like 3 weeks now or something." And then they go into Diane's place. They break in, and then they find Diane's decomposing body on the bed, and she's got hair that's exactly like Rita's. So then Rita is going to, like, she goes into the bathroom at Betty's aunt's place and starts like trying to cut her hair because it's like so traumatic.
Yeah.
But when they're going to the place, and then they see, like, Rita looks over and sees this car and these two men, like these two like kind of creepy looking men that were probably, I think they're the drivers in the car she was in before. They're like standing outside, like watching them. So then Betty's like, okay, go around the corner and just keep driving. And the cab driver's like, okay. So like he's like the real MVP.
So, okay. At what point does it switch timelines? So we start off with Rita and Betty. And then when does it change to Diane and Camilla?
We'll get there. So, because next is the love scene, and then there's the scene at the Club Silencio, and then they go home and open the box, and then that's when it changes.
Okay, so they open the box and then it changes. And how far along into the movie is that?
2/3 of the way through, I think, like an hour and 45, hour 50.
Okay, so most of the time it's Betty and Rita kind of sharing a love story and a mystery of finding out Rita's identity and Betty being an actress.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's most of the movie. You can watch the movie and then be like, okay, I kind of understand what's going on despite all the despite all the like random scenes. Like there's the hitman who's like the worst hitman in the world. There's the two guys who see the homeless lady behind the wall, terrifying. And then there's like, scene here, scene there. But like for the most part, it's easy to follow. And then also Justin Theroux plays Adam, who's just having a bad day because his movie he can't, But that's because, like Diane is like, well, in her dream state of mind, of course he's going to have a shitty day because he's like the worst person to her,
So at the end of the movie, what do you think? Like, is it like, okay, Diane is the real person and she's dreaming about Rita and like our different persona of herself as Betty?
Yes, I think so, because because like how Betty is like cheerful and optimistic and is like almost to a point of being naive. Mm-hmm. It's like that's probably how Diane was, and then now she's like just super depressed because the real Rita, whose name is Camila, doesn't want to be with her and is flaunting her new relationship with Justin Theroux in front of her, and they're going to be married, and then, you know what I mean? Like all that stuff that's happening.
Okay. So they find a key. Where did they find the key again to this box?
They find the key in Rita's purse, and then at the club they find the box.
Okay.
So so in the beginning they find a lot of money and the key in Rita's purse because in real life the hitman said to Diane, "I'll send you the blue key when you know that she's dead," because she asked the hitman to kill Camilla, to kill Rita.
Oh, yeah,
in real life.
Yeah. That's right.
So and then all the money that's in Rita's purse was the money that Diane paid the hitman to go kill Rita, Camilla. So then, so then that's the money that's in Rita's purse, along with the blue key.
I think I'm getting way more out of this than if I just rewatched the movie. So thank you.
Well, actually, if you'd rewatch you know what we need to do? Let's sit down and watch the movie sometime, and we'll just, like, every scene, I'll just be like, okay, this connects to this, and this means that, and that means that.
We should do another commentary.
Oh yeah, we should just scrap this and do a commentary because I feel like it'll be a much better explanation of just a commentary.
Yeah.
So get this. I've rented this movie off of Amazon 3 different times because you can't buy it for some reason on Amazon.
So dumb.
So dumb. But I got the Criterion Blu-ray for Christmas. I want to say last year, I think. So I have it on Blu-ray, but I guess I didn't tell you this, Maddie. I have the DVD player that my grandma has. I have that hooked up to the TV, but I can't get my Blu-ray player hooked up because it's like the softwares don't connect or something.
Oh no.
It's a lot of technical shit. But basically, DVD player works, but Blu-ray player doesn't. So my movies that I only have on Blu-ray, I can't watch the disc. So I'm like, well, I'm gonna rent Mulholland Drive again.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I know. I rented it like a couple months ago and tried to get Noah to watch. Bad idea. He just fell asleep and then we didn't go back to watching it. So I only watched like the first half maybe. And then for this episode, I was like, man, I'm going to have to rent it again. And I was like, maybe I just won't do it. So I also need to find this one at a Goodwill or something, like, because if it was available on Amazon to buy digitally, I would. But
honestly, I would too at this point because it's what, $4, so I've literally spent $12 renting this movie so many times. It's like I feel like Belle in Beauty and the Beast. Like why can't Jeff Bezos just be like, oh, you love it so much you can just have it?
Right? Come on. You can clearly tell.
You can clearly tell that I want to watch this movie a lot because
that's funny.
I think even the first time I saw it, I went back and like I watched certain scenes again just because I was so blown away. I'm like, what the fuck does this movie mean?
Yeah.
It's incredible.
And forever ago, it was on Netflix.
And then on HBO.
Dang it.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. No, it was on Netflix, but then it went on to HBO also.
Yeah. I just
maybe
wish...
it's time. What?
Yeah, oh yeah, maybe it's time it'll come around again to the streaming platforms.
Let's hope so. There used to be like I think Dune, Mulholland Drive, Eraserhead, and Fire Walk with Me were all on HBO, and I'm like, man, where'd those go?
I think Eraserhead's still on there, but
I think so.
That's about it.
Well, my thing is just speaking of Dune, I've been meaning to rewatch both the new Dune and the 80s Dune for like a couple of months, and I still haven't done it. So, thankfully, I have both movies on DVD, so I can watch them on the DVD player. Anyway, so after the love scene, then they wake up and go to the Club Silencio, and this is my other like favorite scene in the movie. Like, what words do I say? It's like the scene in Blue Velvet when Ben puts on the microphone and sings the Ray Orbison song. It's like, what are you supposed to say? You know, like it just evokes that like feeling that only David Lynch can bring. You know what I mean? So like in Blue Velvet, when Dennis Hopper takes Kyle on a ride, hey, joyride, that's a great idea. They go to Ben's house and Ben sings In Dreams, and then he has the microphone on. He's like lip syncing it, and like that whole scene, and then it's like that gives me the similar feels that this scene in Mulholland Drive does when they're at the club and Rebecca Del Rio is singing the another song by that same artist, actually.
Ah, interesting. Yeah, David Lynch does really well with musical scenes.
Yeah, he does. And she actually came back to sing a song in The Return in Twin Peaks.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And just like the atmosphere of the scene and like the flashing blue lighting and stuff, which is also a David Lynch trademark. My new theory is that, because that happens in both Lost Highway and Fire Walk with Me, and my theory is, what if all three of those moments happened in the same time? Like, same moment in time, those three moments with flashing blue lights.
Yeah, I could see that. That could be definitely a theory.
Because the blue light makes Betty kind of shake, like, uncontrollably. And in Lost Highway, when Fred's driving, Bill Pullman's character, the same thing happens to him.
Yeah.
Also in this scene, I think it's Cheryl Lee and Phoebe Augustine who plays Ronette Pulowski in Twin Peaks. I think they're both in the audience.
Oh, really?
So I think Cheryl Lee is actually in this movie. But I'm sending you the photo so you can see the photo I took. But But anyway, that scene is just incredible. And then they go home. I'm sorry. Betty opens up Rita's purse and finds the box. So then they rush home and put the key in the box, or they find the key. Then Betty just vanishes. Rita puts the key in the box, opens it. We zoom into the box. Rita's disappeared. Aunt Ruth, I think, is the one that comes by. I think her name's Aunt Ruth. The aunt, Betty's aunt, comes by. And then, because she was gone, but then she's back now for some reason. And then there's nobody there, and the box is gone. And then we switch into reality with Diane.
Okay.
And then the very disturbing ending, where the old couple's screaming at her. We go back to the corner with the homeless person, throws the box to the ground. The little people come out of it. The old people, they're like shaking and jittering like crazy. And then they show up, and then they crawl under Diane's door. Then they become human size and chase her through the house, and they're like screaming, and she's screaming and crying and losing her mind. And then she shoots herself, and that's basically the end of the movie.
Okay. Is the Silencio Club the same set from The Return when Laura's in a bubble? I mean, even if it's not the same set, it's the same type of place, you know, with the curtains and the little pillars. And, you know, it just is very Lynchian.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
Man, I want a David Lynch tattoo.
Me too. I do. Let's get him. But yeah, so in that scene, I never noticed this. I think that's Cheryl Lee and Ronette Pulaski from Twin Peaks. In the audience.
In the audience, yeah, that's cool. Good catch. Do you think, I mean, my interpretation is that maybe she dies and then she's in heaven with, not in heaven, but, or, you know, in the afterlife, or like in her happy place with Rita, Camilla. But then I don't really understand how she dies. Maybe she commits suicide.
Yeah, she does. She shoots herself in the head.
Oh. Okay.
That's what happens in that scene. The old people chase her, and then she's going frantic. So she reaches into the drawer, pulls out the gun, and shoots herself in the head.
How did I miss that? What the fuck?
because it's a dark scene. It's hard to see it.
Yeah. Okay, so she commits suicide, and then she's with Rita, Camilla. Yeah, and it kind of, it's actually interesting that you say that the older couple could be her parents, because I think it makes sense. Like, it's scary in the fact that she has lived out this lifestyle, and she feels maybe like they would be ashamed of her, and she's afraid of like what they would think, maybe, or like that they raised her to be a certain type of person, and then she turned out not to be that type of person. And that could be, I could see how that could be kind of haunting to her.
Yeah. I love that you took that and ran with it. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, and like honestly, like, I know we have like a slate of a few episodes planned, but we should do what we did with Lost Highway and watch Mulholland Drive and record a commentary for it.
Okay.
And then like, if there's anything you want to build on from what you just said, that'd be the perfect way to do it.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah. So I really think, going back to your interpretation of the ending of like the afterlife, I love that. I think that is really beautiful. I don't even know if I've ever thought about it in that way, because my interpretation, ironically, like, you think I wouldn't. This doesn't sound like something I would say, but I'm like, oh, it's more grim. Like it's like yeah, she's dead. That's the end. And then this is like a vision she's getting as she's dying. Is like the two of them happy, or it's just like how because you kind of looked at it like the Titanic route, and I looked at it as more like, well, you know, like she's dead and that sucks, and
here's the good parts. Yeah.
But because I'm like, well, it's like it's like that was like the moment of like when she was happy, but like it almost wasn't even real, because first of all, it's from the dream, so it's not real, but like it also wasn't even real because they were together, but then, you know, that fell apart.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I really like your theory, so I might subscribe to that too on the ending.
Or tell me if this doesn't make sense with the plot. What if so she dies and then she goes into the dream sequence?
That is very possible. Okay. The thing is the opening of the movie shows somebody like hitting a pillow and going to sleep. So like it could be seen as it's the dream, and then the third act is like what happens after, but it could also be everything that leads up to the ending. I because all the people she sees, they're like reorganized in her dream. Like Adam's mom is Coco, and in the dream, Coco is the landlady, and she's like the sweetest woman ever. Mm-hmm. And then in the real world, she's not. She's like kind of rude to Diane. So yeah, I feel like all that stuff happened, and then the dream. But then I don't know if it's like she kills herself, and then it's the dream or not. But I definitely think that's a valid interpretation, because it's David Lynch, and you can interpret movies. You can interpret any movie however you want, but especially with movies like this. Yeah,
definitely. That's what makes it fun.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna say she got sent to like the Black Lodge or something, and I'm like, that's possible too.
Also, yeah, probably.
Dougie Jones. Oh, one thing from Twin Peaks you might not remember, but feel free to edit this because it's a spoiler. Naomi Watts' character, who plays Dougie's wife in Twin Peaks, is Diane's half sister. You know, Diane, Laura Dern, the woman that's on Cooper's tapes. Mm-hmm. And there's also the theory that Jeffrey and Sandy in Blue Velvet, Kyle MacLachlan and Laura Dern, are Cooper and Diane from Twin Peaks.
Yeah, I could see that.
So I don't know what happens to Isabella Rossellini, but Blue Velvet, woohoo! It's like, Ross, no! Have you not seen the movie?
Blue Velvet, woohoo!
It's like, on the one hand, I understand, but on the other hand, I'm like, dude, that's a fucked up movie. like yes, like the sexual scenes in Blue Velvet are meant to be arousing, but there's some of them that are meant to be absolutely horrifying, and I can't even watch some of them.
Yeah.
So
pretty intense.
Make of that what you will. Although it's a better love story than 50 Shades of Grey, I guarantee it.
Still haven't seen that. Oh yeah, we were gonna do the trilogy, right?
No. Oh, I might need to have some alcohol for that. Or actually no. We should get wine drunk and feel like shit, and then watch Sideways.
Never again.
Did not need to see that husband and his wife. Oh, Paul Giamatti is grabbing the wallet. Didn't need to see him run out. Didn't need to see the other explicit sexual stuff. That's like, I don't know. That's just like a me thing, I think, and that's true with like.
No, I get it.
Like, cause even in this movie, it's like more romantic and like that, and then there's like a beauty to that. But like even then, it's just like nudity in general. I guess I don't know. It depends on the context.
Yeah, I get you for sure.
Like there's that scene in The Notebook when they're with each other for the first time, and they show a little bit, but not a whole lot, and it's absolutely beautiful, you know?
Yeah.
But then you get, like, the scene in fucking Sideways when the guy gets out of bed and runs down the street, and they're driving away, and it's just like, I also don't like movies with insufferable characters, which is why I don't like There Will Be Blood, which is like a well-made movie that I absolutely despise.
Yeah.
And I just kind of feel that way with like actually that's another me thing where I don't like if a movie has a character that I can get behind, I'm all the way with it. But then like when the movie's characters just bore me or make me just feel angry because they're awful people, I'm like, why I don't enjoy watching that.
Yeah, I just started to watch Not Okay on Hulu, I think, and it was kind of the same thing. There was even a disclaimer at the beginning. It was like, the main character is intolerable. And I'm like, yeah, she is, and I'm going to turn it off now.
I meant to ask you because I saw that when you posted that about the warning at the beginning was right, and I'm like, oh no, what's in this movie?
Yep, it says like this features like a despicable main character.
Well, like what are some of the things that are unlikable about the main character?
Well, the premise is that she lies about being in like a terrorist attack.
Like you can tell me, yeah. Wait,
Okay.
Sorry, you cut out. What'd you say?
The main character lies about being in a terrorist attack, basically to get attention and to like work her way up in a job as a writer that she wants to be, which honestly, that's just crazy because like people did that in like 9/11. Like there's this story of this one woman who
Jesus.
She like claimed that she was in the attack and she was on the news and she like did like motivational speeches, and I think she wrote a few books, and then all of a sudden somehow it got out that she was a fraud, and went down. So I was like, I don't really care to see how this movie ends, even though I really like that actress, Zoe Dutch, maybe. I've seen like all of her movies, but I don't know. I just couldn't handle it at the moment. I was also sick this week, so I was like, I don't want to. Yeah, I need something better.
No, I understand. Trust me, when I was really sick, I'm like, I just need comforting shit. You know? Like, even if it's a bad movie, just something that I find comfort in, you know?
Yeah, I will get into what we watched, and I'll tell you all about everything.
I mean, I'm ready if you are.
Okay.
Would you like to go first, or would you rather I go first?
Sure, I'll keep going. I watched so much this last week. Let's see. How do I get to my diary? There we go. Oh, I got paid. Haha.
You got paid. Congratulations. I'm happy.
Thank you.
I got paid too.
You so much. You did?
Yeah.
Good job. I actually got a second job at a concert venue.
Hey, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep going.
Okay. So, well, let me start off with this one that I saw at the Independent Theater. I need to talk about it. I need to watch it again. It's it reminded me kind of Mulholland Drive in like that there were these objects that held something and you didn't really know what, or didn't really understand what they meant. It's called Earwig, and it was an independent film from 2021, and it was like part German. No, it was mostly in English. But it was about this small girl. She was probably like 10 years old, who was held captive by a man who was being paid to do kind of scientific experiments on her, but only involving her teeth. She didn't have any real teeth, but he was assigned to make her teeth made out of ice. And this was kind of a period piece, like, actually, was it? I can't remember. It seemed like a period piece at the beginning, but then I'm trying to think of if it actually turned out to be a period piece. And so he made her like this little headgear thing, and she had like teeth made of ice. And then he gets a call all of a sudden that he has to release her back to her family. So he has to like train her how to act in public, because she hadn't been in public as like a real person like ever.
Okay.
So it was really weird. And then so like the weird part is that he has a collection of glasses, like drinking glasses, like really fine crystal glasses. And he goes to his cupboard, and if he picks up a glass, he looks at it, and it's like a memory comes out. And he has like the memory of this one person, like his dead wife. And then he picks up a different glass, and it's like somebody else. So I don't really know what that's about. But it was very
sounds
intriguing.
kind of
It was
interesting.
really, really good. It was really, really good.
That's awesome.
Yeah, recommend. So that was the last thing I saw at the independent theater. I haven't been back because I am poor, but while I was sick, I watched all of the Bridget Jones movies. So Bridget Jones's Diary, Bridget Jones, The Edge of Reason, and Bridget Jones's Baby. The first one was really cute. I liked it. It was funny, British.
Did you just describe it as cute, funny, and British?
Yeah, cute, funny, and British. And then the last two were basically the same movie. Bridget Jones's Baby was a little bit different. They were all very long, too. Like, too long.
Are they like 2 hours or something?
Yeah, like 2 hours or more. Like, I don't need this. I don't need 2 hours of this, but and then I found this article online that told me about all of the A24 movies to watch on HBO. So I started at the beginning, and I watched this one called Enemy from 2013 with Jake Gyllenhaal, and he meets his doppelganger. It's really good. It's kind of like The Parent Trap, but messed up. And then I watched this one called Lock.
Wait. Do you know who directed Enemy?
Let me look. Oh yeah, it's Denis. Yeah, it's Denis Villeneuve. Yes, it was really good.
Awesome.
So then Locke, I watched with Tom Hardy, directed by Stephen Knight, who also does Peaky Blinders, which I'm in the middle of rewatching. And Tom Hardy is also in Peaky Blinders. This was good too. Just go into it being aware that it only takes place in Tom Hardy's car, and Tom Hardy is the only character on screen. So it's basically like a real-time thing where he's just in the car and he calls a bunch of people. But
cool.
It's good. I finally watched Luca, the Disney, I think it's a Disney Pixar.
Yes, I need to see that one.
It was really cute. I really like it. Except the animation kind of reminded me of Jimmy Neutron. I was like,
cool.
come on. I don't know. I didn't like it that much. But the premise was good. The ending was so cute. It already talked about Not Okay. And I finally got around to watching House of Gucci, which was good too. That was on Prime. And
yeah, that's Ridley Scott.
Ridley Scott. I had heard a lot of things like, oh, it's just too long. It feels too long. But I didn't really think it felt that long. I had been watching a lot of long movies and like Bridget Jones.
I love that it felt shorter than Bridget Jones.
Yeah, I was like, those are too long. And House of Gucci, it was really entertaining all the way through. Great acting. The story's kind of crazy. So, and I watched something. Oh, I watched the upcoming movies for our other episode that I will talk about later.
Fantastic.
It's been a good week of movies.
Fantastic.
Yeah. How about you?
So I saw, I was going to say I hadn't seen a lot of movies, but I think in the last couple of weeks I have. I watched this movie called I'll See You in My Dreams, starring Blythe Danner, who plays the mom, the mom in the Meet the Parents movies, Robert De Niro's wife. So not Ben Stiller's mom, but his fiance's mom.
Okay.
And she's great in everything. So yeah, it was her and Sam Elliott and Rhea Perlman, who is Danny DeVito's ex-wife. And Martin Starr is in it too. You know, Bill from Freaks and Geeks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So the movie was just about Blythe Danner, like she's like older and she's just living her life, and she meets Sam Elliott and they have a connection, and it was a sweet movie. I wanted to like it a little more than I did, but I still thought it was good.
Okay.
And then in theaters, I saw Where the Crawdads Sing and Nope, the new Jordan Peele movie.
Oh, tell me.
And both movies, I will say, left me feeling mixed. There's things I liked about both of them, but I don't really think either movie was fully my thing. I don't know. I know that's weird because they're totally different movies made by totally different like studios, and like everything about them is different. But I was a little bummed with Nope. Maybe I just need to watch it again because I was kind of tired that day. But like I like Get Out a lot, and I love Us. Like Us is so freaking good. So watching Nope, I was a little let down by it. But I think that's just a me thing because a lot of people I've talked to really, really liked it. So
yeah, okay, very cool.
And then I also watched Taika Waititi's Hunt for the Wilder People.
Great.
Which I also didn't vibe with as much. I don't know why. Maybe it was just the day. I thought the acting was great and everything, but I just didn't really connect to it, honestly.
Yeah. Okay.
Which I thought I would. And then I also watched Prey on Hulu, the new Predator movie. And I really liked it, actually. It's the cinematography is breathtaking. Like the entire movie, every shot is just so great, and the characters are good, and the acting is great. And I think this is like because I've seen the first two original Predator movies, and they weren't really my thing. So I don't know, like the Predator as like a monster doesn't really like. There's something about it where it just doesn't really quite work when I watch the movie. I can't really explain it. But then in this movie, in the new one, Prey, I think they like finally like captured that really well. You know, because like when you watch Alien, like the alien is like scary. You know, like the design is scary, and like it's just like so scary.
Yeah.
But then watching the original Predator, I'm like, this just feels kind of silly. Like the design of the Predator.
Okay.
You know? And then in this new movie, I feel like, I don't even know if they updated it a whole lot, but just something about it just made it work. And then I know I watched quite a few movies I didn't really like that much, so I feel kind of like,
oh, I hate that.
whenever I get a string of movies that I don't like as much, I always feel, is there something wrong with me? Like am I just done with movies? And I'm like,
Yeah.
no. The last movie I watched was Revenge of the Nerds, which is an 80s movie I had never seen.
I haven't seen that either.
And I wanted to see it. It's not very good. I didn't find it very funny. It's kind of dated. There's a scene where, do you remember, like, many episodes ago, maybe during the Breakfast Club, and we talked about 16 Candles, and then there was a part where you were like, isn't there a scene in Anthony Michael Hall is like with a girl, and it's like not totally consensual? And I'm like, yeah, kind of.
Oh, okay,
But then in this movie, that actually happens. Like, one of the main characters were supposed to, like, tricks a girl into sleeping with him because she thinks it's her boyfriend, but it's really him.
Jesus.
And then they end up together. And then I'm like, that's...
Oh, God.
No, that hasn't aged well at all.
Yeah.
That's not...
went through a similar thing when I was watching, I think it's called The Edge of 17.
With Haley Steinfeld?
Not that one. It was like one from the 80s about like a little gay boy coming of age. And it was not good. I had to turn that one off.
Like, the rest of the movie just wasn't very funny, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
To me. It could be a generational thing, but like the whole movie is like these two nerdy guys go to college, and everybody at the college is like mean to them, like the jocks and the cheerleaders and everything.
That's stupid. That's not how college goes.
I know. It drove me insane. I'm like, that's high school.
Yeah.
Like, and like that was like the joke was like, oh, when we're going to college and it's gonna be different, and then it wasn't. So then they like, you know, then they get picked on one too many times, and like, okay, we're gonna get our revenge, hence the title. So then they put then they put like cameras in the girls' dorm and see them all naked, and then they like
how is that revenge?
Yeah, exactly. And then and then they stay up all night and watch it on TV. And then like for the jocks they put like itchy whatever in their underwear, so they're all like itching, they're all like burning, and that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was funny. But then the main bully, he's dating the cheerleader girl, and she's like a total like jerk to the nerd guys, but one of them's in love with her.
They
so then
wouldn't even interact at college. Like, how is this possible? I don't know. Anyway.
Right. The whole premise. So then one of the main characters we're supposed to like, he puts on, because the main bully, he's wearing a mask, but he takes it off to go do something else. So then he takes the mask and costume and puts it on and goes inside the fun house with the girl because she thinks they're going to hook up. And then they do. And then she finds out after the fact that it's the nerdy guy. And she's like, that was like the best time ever. Then they end up together. And I'm like, something about that. You know, there's some, I can't quite tell
written
you
by
what,
a man.
but something, yeah.
Yeah.
In the 1980s, no less.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Which is interesting because, like the iconography of the movie, like, now I understand it. Because like, somebody had referenced something somewhere, and I'm like, what does that mean? And it's like what we were saying before, how now that I've seen the movie, I understand the references. So, like, that's all fine. I just don't think the movie has, I don't think the movie is any good, really.
Gotcha. Okay.
There were a couple times I laughed, but I couldn't tell you what they were. The part when all the football players were itching, that was funny.
Yeah.
But then John Goodman plays their coach, and then even he's like an over the top like villain.
Aw.
It's just a bunch of them getting revenge on all these like jerky people. And then at the end, like one of them gives like a speech about like how, you know, like how we should all like you know, just like big movie speech. And at this point, I'm just like, I don't know. Anyway, that's what I watched. And to end on a good note, the one more I'll say. There's a movie that I wanted to see for a while, and I finally got to see it. or I've always been curious about seeing it ever since it came out, and it came out in like 2015 or something. It's called Tomorrowland. It's a Disney movie with George Clooney, famous head shaking George Clooney, and that's what he's going to be known as for till the end of time now in my brain. I don't even remember who said that. I just, when I listened to Sideways, I don't know, I was talking about some other movie.
Oh, it was my mom.
Oh yeah. So I was listening to that episode, and then it was like I said that, and now I'm just like, oh yeah.
She's like, he just shakes his head so much. I'm like, what the fuck?
He just shakes his head. Yeah. So head shaker George Clooney. It's like a fantasy, like here's the future, and then there's like, I don't even know how you would describe it. It's a very complicated movie, but it was good. I liked it, and like for a long time I had heard it was like really bad, and then that's kind of bummed me out. It's from the guy who directed The Incredibles and The Iron Giant, but it's live action, and he also directed one of the Mission Impossible movies. So all of his movies I've seen, I've liked, and I've seen all of his movies except for Incredibles 2. So
okay, wait, you haven't seen Incredibles 2?
No, I haven't. I don't know why.
It's pretty.
I want to. I mean, Incredibles 1 is great.
Yeah.
Like I think I watched that like again like last year or something, and I'm like, man, that movie is just so good.
It is classic.
Yeah. I guess he also directed Ratatouille. The same guy.
I almost watched that.
Have you seen it?
Yeah. I almost watched it when I was sick because I was like, oh, that just sounds like such a good movie right now.
Yeah. So it's so Ratatouille, Incredibles, Iron Giant, and Ghost Protocol are his other movies. Okay. And I really liked Tomorrowland. I mean, there's a Black Keys song in it, and nice. I was watching it with Lucy and Graham when it started. I'm like, holy shit, it's the Black Keys! That's awesome.
Nice. Which one?
It's called, I don't know. It's an older one. I'll look it up. It's called I Got Mine from the album Attack and Release.
Okay.
So, 2008. So,
nice.
It's pretty good. I'll send it to you.
Thank you.
The song. Dougie Jones.
Dougie Jones.
Well, yeah, so that's all I watched. Yeah,
very
so
cool.
Mulholland Drive
it's been a good time.
I would say it's been a time of change. I think there's a movie called Times of Change. I should watch that. But anyway,
yeah, you should.
Anyway, that's what I'll talk about next time is Times of Change. Yeah, I mean, as something I've watched, not the actual movie that we watched.
Okay. Yeah, dang it, I should have saved stuff for tomorrow's recording, but I did not. Well, I'm gonna watch something tonight, I think, so.
Never mind. It's not. It's let me see here. I'll find the movie I was thinking of because it's not called Time of Change apparently. Let's see. Tales of Innocence. That's the movie I was thinking of.
Okay.
Not Time. Oh, I'm sorry. Winds of Change.
Oh.
I fucked up. Winds of Change.
Winds.
Not Times of Change. I got those two titles mixed up in my head, and I was like, Tales of Change, Times of Change. That's right.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so thanks for listening to this episode on Mulholland Drive. We might do a commentary. We might do a commentary on the movie itself, and yeah, I don't know. What are you gonna do, Maddie? After we record?
I'm gonna watch this movie that Noah recommended. Weird, right? He doesn't watch movies on his own, but last night he did. He watched this one with Tom Malfoy.
Cruise. Oh, Tom Felton.
Thank you. Tom Felton.
You're welcome.
And he said it was good, so I'm gonna check that out.
Dope.
What are you gonna do after we record?
Well, I'm gonna go return some videotapes.
Oh. Very interesting. Okay. We'll come back next week.
So, yeah, we'll come back next week. Yeah, so thank you for listening. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening.
Now get lost. I mean, go home. No, really, get lost.
Go home. Go home, watch Mulholland Drive. And also, keep therapizing.